Yeah, it's me, and I'm really in my feels over here. You guys, there's a lot we got to talk about. Like, not only is this a video essay on love, and like it's mostly on love, but fine, we'll throw in friendship. I've really been like so deliciously in my feels. You know, when it's like you're there, but it is very self-indulgent. I'm being a brat lately. I'm being so fucking petty. And I gotta get him back. You want the honest answer? My ex started dating somebody else. So, okay. And I know he'll think it's funny too. Like he's probably watching this. Aren't you watching? I guess I just see my life as like a sitcom. So, for example, I've been telling all my friends, you know, like when we get wine or coffee or whatever, like, oh, and you know, my ex is like, he's dating someone else now. And I tell him like the guy's name. And everyone's like, damn, like you can't compete with that name. Because his name is, he has like a hot name. And I guess, yeah, it was all fun and games until one of us started like seriously seeing somebody else. Who knows? I don't even know if it's serious, but like, I'm kind of enjoying it. They like get married. And I'm like, it's all just fun, you know, like, is this just a game? No, but this is how I'm being so toxic. Because I'm like, oh, well, I want to meet him. Invite him over. Like, invite him out. Let's go. These bitches don't know who they're messing with. Humans love love. Love is one of the only acceptable forms of insanity. Yeah, we're gonna go there. You guys have heard me talk many times, not only about my ex, because he's taught me so much, and like, whatever, I'll always have love for him. Like, we're not in love. Like, you guys have probably figured that out. My ex and I are not in love. Although, like, now I am. Yes, this avoidant attachment style got the best of me. I feel like I have very extreme views on love, actually. Like, I feel like any relationship from now on needs to be an open relationship. I feel like society places way too much emphasis on finding our one true love when it's like mathematically, I just feel like that's so mathematically incorrect. I really dislike that we tend to celebrate romantic love, but we don't really celebrate friendship love as much when our friends tend to be there before, during, and after romantic love. I think it's odd that we only use one word for love when there's all kinds of love. There's love for your pet. There's love for your friend. There's love for your parents. There's love for your lover. There's love for yourself. You see what I'm saying? And yet we use the same word love. So I just wish that English, that a lot of these languages were a little bit more descriptive in our types of love. And I think Greek actually is a language where they divide, you know, you have like sexual love, you have romantic love, you have platonic love. You guys get the point that I'm trying to make? Do I need to go on for another few more minutes? Right, so I told you guys like my ex is dating someone else. That's gonna keep coming up because I've noticed a lot of things, a lot of games that I actually play. That's really not fair. It's hard to make a video like this without going full on, like telling y'all everything. But I would never want to like be at a dinner with someone I really care about and for them to think like I'm only using this as material like for my YouTube channel. You see what I'm saying? Like that's not cool. That's not gonna happen. Why do I write notes when I could just not even use them?
No.
I left myself a voice note. This was my note.
No.
No.
First off, I'm sorry. I want to just say I've seen this guy comment many times, so I don't mean any harm by putting, you know, I'm gonna scratch your name out too, because you probably don't mean any harm by it. I feel like you're probably watching this video too. It's okay. I love that social media allows a 30-year-old to give advice on life love, as if they've experienced anything. People were coming to bat for me, which thank you. And he responded, he's had one failed relationship. Stop.
No.
People tend to think, this is point number one, take out your notebooks. Just because a relationship ends does not mean that it was a failure. I went on Nathaniel Drew's podcast. Wow, I look so unhealthy. Like, can we talk about how important lighting is real quick? I'm sorry if you... On his podcast, he was talking about how his parents have been married forever. And at first I said, congratulations. Congrats to your parents. And then I took my congrats. Sorry. Not even congrats, though. Here we go with like my words again.
No, I like it though. I don't know where you
I guess congrats to your parents, but also congrats to everyone else who figured out that maybe they aren't compatible in their relationship and they should also be celebrated.
Yeah.
So congrats to them too. Congrats to
Totally.
everybody. I took my congratulations back because I don't like that we congratulate people for staying in relationships and we wouldn't congratulate someone for ending a relationship. I think ending a relationship that's no longer compatible, that's also just as much of grounds for a congratulations. I don't think that people need to stick together just for the sake of sticking together. And I think it kind of proves my point that just because people stay together, they think that they need to be congratulated. You can't live your life doing things hoping that other people congratulate you or not congratulate you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do your life for you. I feel like it's similar to someone saying, I don't want to be lonely when I'm older, therefore I'm like going to have a big family. Okay, well, I've worked at a retirement home, and actually the people who had huge families felt even more depressed because they felt like they had given their life to their family and that their family wasn't visiting them enough, as opposed to the people who didn't even have children, who were just like, I guess, living their life in a different way. There was less resentment towards a family because they didn't have a family, you know? I mean, this would be like saying you lived in New York City for 8 years and then you decided to leave. You wanted to go to Miami or Paris, and then people calling it a failure. And you're like, that wasn't a failure. I did what I needed to do. It all happened. It was just that my relationship only needed to last 8 years. See what I'm saying? Okay. So, some context, just so you guys know where all these thoughts on love are coming from. So, my parents divorced when I was like 4, and so I always grew up with them being divorced, so it was never ever a thing. Like, in fact, I would find it weird if my mom and dad were like together. But what's cool is that they always got along. They've never fought. They always were very diplomatic towards each other. So, again,
Not a failure.
you know the Gwen Stefani song Cool? And after all the obstacles, it's good to see you now with someone else. Blah, blah, blah. Had huge crushes on girls when I was growing up, which is interesting because like now I don't feel like I could have a crush on a girl. I never like dated a guy because I wasn't out. That whole concept in itself, like we could do a whole video on gay people having to come out for everyone else. Of course, now looking back, like, yeah, there were some guys in high school that I was like, oh yeah, I probably did have a crush on them. I just didn't know what those feelings were. Anyways, I come to Paris to study abroad. I'm in a club, like International Student Night, and I meet this guy because he came up to me and we started talking. Again, I was like, I've never done anything, like, I'm not gay. It was more, I didn't care for myself. It was more that I didn't want to be judged by other people. Now I realize if I'm ever going to be judged by other people, then those people are just like not my friends, right? If you have to worry about what your friends are going to think about the things that you genuinely want to do, then yeah, probably not your real friend. That turned into a 6-year relationship where he would come to the United States and spend time. Then I'd come to Paris and I would spend time. We were doing the back and forth thing. And that was because I was building the Damon and Joe YouTube channel at the time. I really felt like that song, How to Deal by Frankie J. How do you deal when you can't be with the one you love and the one that you love is with somebody else? This whole song is about how Frankie J chose his career over love. And I felt like that's kind of what I did when my ex was always like consistently showing up for me. And I was always choosing career over him. And I feel, again, that's a very American thing to do. And what he was doing was a very French thing to do. The French perspective is like, à quoi ça sert une carrière si t'as pas l'amour, si tu peux pas partager une vie avec quelqu'un? I feel like it's something that's really easier to understand when you're in Europe. After all those years in LA and New York, I was like, fuck this, I don't want to be here. So I moved to Paris. And when I moved here, you would think like we would get back together. But really what ended up happening was we have had, I mean, you guys see, we like tease about it all the time on here, right? And it's really cute. Every time I meet you guys, you always ask about my ex. I would say we became like best friends. He's probably my best friend, if not one of my best friends. Whatever, I don't have to like choose best friends, right? He's one of my closest people in my life. He knows, I think, literally everything about me at this point. I know most about him. Again, we'll get to this later because we have different views on what we share with people. You know what? Let me just go there since we're here already. My definition of true love would be wanting to share everything with somebody. There are no more boundaries. There are no more walls up. I feel fully comfortable that no matter what I say, you're still gonna like love me. The love is not conditional. And keep that in mind. Write that down. Because when I talk about open relationships, again, we're gonna come back to that. Because it doesn't matter if you go have sex with somebody on one night of a business trip because you want to come back to me. What you were doing was just a animal response, really. I don't know. Again, we're gonna get there. And his point of view was more, I think, traditional in the sense like, I'm still allowed to have some things for me. I think he thinks that by sharing everything, it's gonna become like a hive mind and we become like too much of a thing instead of remaining like our own individual people. Doesn't it seem obvious that the majority of the world has accepted this idea that there is one person out there for us? Maybe there's not one person out there for us, but a true, real, actual relationship means that you're in a relationship with one person. Sorry, my phone just vibrated. Whatever, I don't need it. And so everyone's goal in life is to like find their other person, or at least somebody to be in a relationship with. I feel like the way society is set up now has us all convinced that just because we have feelings for one person means that if we have feelings for another person, it has to take away from person A. Has to. And I don't think that's exactly true. I just wish we could kind of do without that, because I do think it's the source of like so many people's unhappiness and loneliness. And if we didn't have that, again, if we all just like showed up to Earth one day and that wasn't an idea that was planted in our head already through all these amazing songs and amazing movies, then maybe there wouldn't be so loneliness or emptiness feeling or insecurity in the world. Y'all know it's interesting. So many cultures around the world differ in their cultures, but it seems like the one thing everyone agrees on is that, again, I don't really agree with it, but it seems like what most people agree on is this idea of love being between one person and one person. It's just interesting. Again, it's not like convenient for my theory on love. I don't give a fuck. Like, it doesn't have to be, but I do find it interesting. Like, we all eat different foods. We all believe different religions, but for the most part, not excluding me, we all do believe that your life is successful in some way if you find that person for yourself. Now, don't get me started on how it's already hard enough to get a visa to go live in another country. So really what every country is doing, all the cultures out there are doing, is really just breeding. Like inbreeding. We're all just inbreeding our cultures and passing on our way to the next people and the next people and the next people instead of intermingling. I mean, personally, I've always made a joke that like I can't date Americans because I'm just so interested in the world that I don't think that I would find someone who's from where I'm from that interesting. Again, not one of my best thoughts, but it's a lot easier to remain where you are and just date someone in your country, get married to someone in your country, have a baby with someone in your country. Now, imagine all the paperwork that gets involved when you meet someone from a different country. In order to do that, first you have to travel there, which means you need a passport. So that's paperwork you got to do. Then if you want to go on a trip longer than like a week, probably gonna need a visa or something. That's more paperwork. You can't just get a visa. You need to have a reason to have a visa in a country. So that's more effort. So what I'm saying is like, it's a lot easier for everyone to just stay in their countries, stay in their lanes, and to just keep like breeding the same cultures over and over and over. I'm making this sound very dystopian. I don't mean it like that. I just feel like, again, it's like a very accepted thing when I think it'd be more interesting and more beneficial to the world if it were a lot easier for everyone to get a visa, everyone to get a passport, everyone to get a visa, everyone to freely travel so we can have this like interchanging of ideas. Here's another example with my ex. Like there were times when we were like, should we just get married? Like, should we just get married? Because it just simplify our lives, because then he could go live in the States and I could go live in France. And I just hated. I thought it was so wrong, actually, that I don't have to ask myself these questions if I fall in love with someone from my country. But just because I fell in love with someone from another country, again, invisible borders, like you're literally just from a different plot of this earth. But now because I fell in love with you, my life is just a little bit more difficult because there's paperwork involved. And I have to actually get married if we can be in the same place. I don't want to be married. I don't want to be married to you. But we had to get married. We didn't get married, but like, I'm like, and that's what this rock is for. True, real human emotions, love, complicated by administration and like bureaucrats and paperwork. Like, it got me fucked up. Got me fucked up. I don't know if I'm a huge manifester. I believe in manifestation in the way that if you put a sign up on your door as you walk out, that you're going to think about it and then you're probably going to act on it. Like, I believe in the action part. Whereas I think most people think if they only say good things, then the universe will bring those good things. I guess either way, it doesn't matter which method is actually correct. What matters is that the thing actually pans out and happens. I'm saying it because I think a lot of people want love, or like they'll put on a mood board like a hot guy, or maybe they're manifesting a relationship this year. I don't think it's something that you can look for. Like on the dating apps right now, you have the option to put like, I'm looking for short term, I'm looking for long term. It just seems like an odd question to me because I don't think you can force anything. I'd say I'm the complete opposite of manifestation, actually. I'd be like the law of detachment. I think it's called the law of detachment. That the more you spend thinking about something that you don't have, the more you're reinforcing the fact that you don't have it. So instead of focusing on trying to find a relationship all the time, focus on doing things that have nothing to do with your relationship. Like, for example, like taking Arabic classes. It is day 1 of my Arabic class, 9 to 5 Arabic class. This is all I know. Ahlan wa salam. Whatever they say, like when you're least looking for love, that's when you find it. That probably explains, oh my God, that probably explains why I never like actually meet anybody who lasts in the club. I meet a lot of people in the club. Not a shy person in the club. But yeah, I'm like someone who loses interest fast. God, maybe I do need to put more time in. Maybe I need to try more. Maybe this is a nice time to talk about the friendship tier. I was in London last fall with my friend Iwana, and we had 2 different outlooks on friendship. I personally feel like there's so many people in the world. You click with some people and you don't click with others, and the ones you click with are the ones that like it makes sense to maybe value a little bit more and like spend a little bit more time with, you know? That's my perspective. Her perspective was relationships take work, so it doesn't matter if you click or not, you got to put effort into the relationship. Okay. So what we would be doing in London is like she would be meeting somebody and then she'd see the person again and again and again, even if like she wasn't really feeling it. You know, she was like acting out her theory on life. I don't know. Actually, can you, Iwana, whatever happened? This is my friendship tier theory. You have a triangle. The bottom tier are people who you just met that like you don't really know if you're gonna like actually become friends, but they're in the category you just met. Like you got to give it a chance. You clicked enough for them to be in bottom tier. Okay, middle tier is like, they're on the come up. Like we've met up a few times for coffee. We're having a good time. They know I've retained some details about their life. And then the top tier is like, these are your ride or dies. These are people who you love. And for me, all of my energy, for the most part, goes to the top tier. These are the people I'm FaceTiming every day, the people I'm traveling with. These are the people like, if you need something, I'm gonna be there. Everyone in this triangle of yours can move up and down the tiers, right? So if someone says like, hey, let's get a coffee, and then 10 minutes before they cancel, move them down. Move them down. If you go on vacation with someone and realize that your vacation styles are not really vibing, down. They go down 1. Your ass is probably getting moved down 2. And that's okay, because everything's always in flux, you know? So that's my concept of the friendship tier. Let's transition into my ex. This is why my ex thinks someone and I'm not. Okay? He was like, well, we spend way too much time together. Like, it's almost blocking me from meeting anybody else because we, like, hang out too much and we have too much history that it's really just way too comfortable. So he was doing the Iwana method. Okay, I have to actually put work in if this is going to work with somebody else. See, that's probably why I'm here alone. Shit. That's probably why I'm in here alone. He was looking for a relationship and I'm not. And I think that's a very, like, mature and honest conversation we had. Just for context, I'm always the person who's like, ew, I don't want to talk about it. Like, no. Like, talking about it so, like, unsexy. Like, can't we just show each other what we think? Like, I don't want to talk about it. Ugh. This is so fine with me. Talking to my friends, so fine. Say I'm, like, starting to talk to a guy and having to, like, have a serious conversation. That's going to kill the whole vibe for me. I don't know what that means, but I don't know, it just like gets unsexy. Maybe it's like a little bit too much of like family talk, and then it like makes me not see you in like a romantic way anymore. Like I feel like I'm being yelled at. I don't know, it just completely turns me off. So I definitely am an avoidant attachment style. Yes, I am. I'm an avoidant attachment kind of person. For example, if you show me so much love, if you're texting me all the time, if you're calling me all the time, if you're like love bombing me, like, ugh, stop it. I think most people would respond to that being like, oh, Damon, is it because you don't think that you're worthy of love? Bitch, what? Like, no, I think I'm very worthy of love. I think I got it going on, actually. Yeah, no, I think I'm very worthy of love. I don't think that has anything to do with it. Whereas the other one is anxious attachment, and that would be more like, Sen, you don't text me enough. Like, please show me that you love me. Like, you are not giving me any sign that you actually love me. Why don't you love me? That's more the anxious one. How have you met everyone that you've dated? I've noticed a major pattern in my life. Every guy, maybe not every guy, but there's definitely a pattern happening. Why do I like to go to the club so much? Yes, because I like to throw this in. I love the club. It's a place of joy. People aren't talking about work. They're not worried about achieving. They're literally there to enjoy their time. It's a place of joy. It's a place of fun. So I bring it up because most of the guys that I've ever liked, I've met them in the club. I think that's also why I like to go to the club, because it's a place of like socialization for me. It's like a place of hope. Like that's literally where I've met all of the past people that I've ever dated or like seen, really like talked to. So I think that's maybe like what's in my mind when I'm going to the club again. Like, oh, I'll probably meet some people. Like, who's at the club tonight, you know? There's a quote from Proust, another like French writer. Like, God, who isn't a French writer at this point in time? We don't fall in love because we actually are capable of having feelings for someone else, but because we're actually falling deeper in love with ourselves. I think this is the perfect example. Maybe I'm into these guys because I like who I am in the club. So I'm falling in love with myself. I'm falling in love with myself because I like that I'm being bold and adventurous and I'm putting myself on a limb. I fuck with the philosophers because they're always they're making me think. I have so many thoughts all the fucking time. Okay, let me start with the first one. We're entering like this new phase in society where we're hearing more voices all the time. Whereas before, it was really like only a certain amount of people and certain kind of person was getting published. So we only heard certain voices, right? And same thing with television shows being written, people being cast in them. We were only hearing ideas from certain kinds of people. So one, what other ideas are we not hearing? Because these people in the past, like they weren't French philosophers, you know, so they weren't published. So those like really interesting ideas were never published for us to hear today. Okay. Put that in your back pocket. Part two is that I feel like we would value someone's voice who's been published or has a TV show. I feel like we would value those voices more than like, I don't know, our professors or YouTubers or like your best friend who said something really interesting and really cool. But because they haven't been published, we're not going to give them like the time of the day. We're not going to give them their flowers. But we would do so for someone who's been published. I guess je vois ça comme ça parce que moi j'ai été publié and I don't think of myself as like Marcel Proust. He was also published and so was I. And we've both been on bookshelves in bookstores. And so I get, not that we're like on the same level. It's like I am actually Proust. No, congratulations, you wrote a book that's, I know how hard it is to do and to work with a team and get it published. But just because you wrote a book doesn't mean that what you say is like the whole truth, the only truth and nothing but the truth. I think I've realized that my next relationship needs to be non-monogamous. I don't think I believe in monogamy like as a concept, honestly. I don't think I believe in it. I think everyone who does it is some way holding back something. I think it's human nature to be attracted to multiple people. I just do. Sexually. Like, again, I think it's really beautiful that you can share a deep connection with somebody, but I do think that attraction to other people will always be there. And it seems like the accepted view right now is that you have to deny yourself that. For me, that's giving abnegation. Let me keep explaining because I think there's like an emotional affair and I think that's wrong, okay? So, because sexual affair I don't think is that bad for me personally, but like an emotional affair, that would hurt. And I think that's actually why like I've been in my feels, you got it, babe. And I think that's why I've been a little sprung. Because I see that now that my ex is dating someone else, I can see how like I'm kind of being replaced. Like he's spending, understandably, time with this guy instead of spending time with me. I'm a little too mature for this because I know that I'm literally responsible. I didn't want a relationship, so hello, obviously, what do you expect him to do? I travel all the fucking time. Hello, what do you expect? I know. I'm fully aware. You can be as logical and rational as you want, but I also know like there will still be some feelings that will be hurt. All right, so say you're dating somebody and they have an affair, a sexual affair. To me, they're just acting on their human instinct that they find other people attractive. And as long as they still prefer you, like to spend time with you, like they want to wake up on a Sunday morning and have breakfast with you, they like your conversation, they like you as a person. And just because they found somebody else hot doesn't mean that you have to start feeling all insecure because they chose somebody else to have sex with. Now, ideally, y'all could just have like a threesome, but sometimes people aren't into that. Now, if this were me in the hypothetical relationship we're bringing up right now, and the person started like, I don't know, going to brunch with this person where I'm like not invited, or getting a coffee with this person, going to the movies with this person, like that would be more painful to me. Comment below, like which one would be more painful? The first one is like, I understand. I can't fit every profile out there. Like, look, this is how I look, but I can't like do some transfiguration and look like somebody else. I know that there are multiple hot people in the world, and who are we to think that we're the only hot ones out there? That's just not realistic, people. So I feel like we're doing ourselves harm by thinking that. You should be able to have your cake and eat it too. Sorry, I can't keep a straight face when I say that. You should be able to have your cake and eat it too. Tell me that's not the best pun of the whole video. Okay, I really want to think this one through. You have been dating somebody. You love them. You guys love each other. You have sex together. Wow, we're this far into the video. I haven't even talked about how I think that love and sex are two different things. Oh my God, there's so much to say. You are in a relationship, whatever, you guys have been together for years. You come to Paris because you're studying abroad. And okay, one night you had a drink and like you're walking across a bridge in Paris. There's a million of them. And you see the shimmering Eiffel Tower. It like starts raining. And yeah, there's like a dude, a girl that you've been like really vibing with. I'm telling you honestly from the bottom of my heart, if I were your boyfriend, I think that I would want that moment for you. And I think that's literally the sign of my love for you, because I want that moment for you in your life. Yeah, I think it's a sign of love. I feel like if I were to deny you that like life moment, that's the kind of love we're used to in society. And I think that's why everything's so dysfunctional and everyone's so unhappy and everyone feels so like relationships feel so toxic. It feels like the love is not genuine. Baby, if you're on your study abroad and you do meet some guy and like, wow, the feelings are there that night, like, sure, do it. Like, what a cool moment that I want you to have for your life. Low key, as long as you come back to me. As long as you know that I'm number one. So yeah, I guess I'm working through this now. Like, I guess I would believe in like a primary partner. I guess I believe in swinging. Probably. I don't know. Is that what it is? Yeah, maybe it is that. Yeah, I think we should all be swingers. If you don't know her, Esther Perel's a therapist. And people seem to be like, oh, you're promoting cheating. Because they're just, again, so first degree. Esther Perel has seen thousands of couples at this point. And she deals often with like infidelity. She said that 9 times out of 10, the people who have affairs, they don't regret it because they felt alive. And the affair that they had, it was no dig at their partner, but more so them just trying to get back to like a version of themselves that they no longer see. Like they feel like they've lost themselves in a way in this relationship. They don't recognize themselves. They feel, I don't know, somewhat bored, or they feel like, again, it's like this hive mind and they want like some sense of individuality. The way to do it is to be honest with your partner, obviously. And like that doesn't happen, again, in the way that society is set up, because we seem to think there's only one person out there and we have to deny ourselves everything else. So therefore, affairs happen all the time, and that's why there's so much hurt and dysfunction. I feel like most people think open relationships, and their first thought is like, oh, why don't you just be single? You're not
Getting it. You're really not getting it.
You're really choosing to abide by one view of a relationship that you've been taught your entire life. There can be a version of a healthy relationship that is you have mad love for your partner. As long as you're honest with your partner that you might be feeling something for someone else, this could be an opportunity for you guys to get closer. This could be like literally a growing experience. My dark humor. I'm like, someone gets pregnant and it's like literally a growing experience. That's actually interesting to mention. I should have mentioned this in the context. You know, I probably think a lot of this stuff because in gay relationships, there's no risk of pregnancy. Like, that shouldn't even be an issue. I'm sorry. That shouldn't even be an issue. People should be responsible. They should either wear condoms or someone needs to be on birth control. The dude needs to get a vasectomy. Like, there are ways around this. It doesn't, like, I'm not even going to use that as an excuse. But yes, it is easier for me because I don't have to ever think of any form of pregnancy. There are different ways to have an open relationship. One method is the don't ask, don't tell method, where you kind of like do your things on the side and you don't tell your partner because you're afraid that it might hurt them or they just don't need to know. That one's not for me because it goes against like my definition of what love is. Remember, do we need to go back? Love is me wanting to share everything with you. If you think about it, like, you don't want to share everything with your family. You don't want to share everything with your friends. But when you have a true love, you're like not afraid to share everything with them. You're like your insecurities, what turns you on. Love is you wanting to share everything. There are no more boundaries because you feel like the love is conditional or no, inconditional, unconditional. You feel like the love is unconditional because you feel like the love bypasses all the judgments. So for me, the don't ask, don't tell method is just as bad as like being in a monogamous relationship where we're like, we say we love each other, but like you guys are both just watching porn. Like, to me, and fine, watch porn. I don't give a fuck, but like that's telling you that you're still desiring somebody else. I don't know. To me, if you have the desire and you act on it, they're the same thing. To me, if you have the desire and you're watching porn, to me, if you have the desire and you're thinking about somebody else, it already happened. So at that point, like literally just go do it. I know, this is what I'm saying. I told y'all in the beginning of this, I'm probably like the outlier on my views on love. That's okay. I'm okay being alone. For now. I might have to like change my views soon. But you see what I'm saying, right? I wouldn't be able to do the don't ask, don't tell because it's not in line with what I literally believe love is. I could only do an open relationship if we're all honest. All of us, like me and my like 8 wives. If everyone in the relationship's honest with each other, hey, I'm really feeling this guy at work. He's really cool. It's just like, I don't know, Brazilian guy. He's super sexy. Now I'm learning more about you, you know? Instead of you holding things back from me, I'm learning that you are into sexy Brazilian guys at work. Okay, you're teaching me more about you. This is like, again, it could be a growing experience. But most people just write this whole experience off as it's wrong, it's infidelity. Actually, I think everyone's being very authentic because we're all being honest about our true feelings. Where was I? If we were in love, why would we be holding things back from each other? Shouldn't we be able to trust each other enough pour pouvoir tout se dire? You would think. I don't know. I think what's most beautiful is that each person has their own autonomy in that you care about the other person enough to want to share. Yeah, so if you're in a relationship and you're watching porn or like you're flirting with other people at work or you're sending like guys, girls, DMs, and you would never act on it, to me, you already have. Like the thought was there, you wanted to. Like if I weren't in the equation, you would have done it. So at that point, we got to rethink relationships because I'm not about to live my life hurting like that. That's like not a solution-based thinking. It's not like, I was on Tinder scrolling the other day. I'm going to Brazil soon, so I bought the extra week of premium. There was a guy whose bio said, I believe I'm sorry. His bio said, I believe in ethical non-monogamy. Like, as opposed to what? Like, unethical non-monogamy? Like, you're not helping the cause, my friend. Non-monogamy can be beautiful, if not more beautiful, because you're not owning somebody. You're, like, actually wanting them to have their own individual life and all the beautiful experiences they can have, and you're not, like, selfishly hoping that they deny themselves experiences just so that you feel good. Why can't you have both? Or again, just have threesomes. Like, just be together and also, like, understand that you're going to get tired of each other. You're going to know each other's bodies after, like, a few years. So at that point, instead of having a dead sex life, why don't you just, like, liven it up by bringing other people in? Which, by the way, the threesomes that I've had, like, I can't be the third party going in because, again, avoidant attachment style. It's too much attention. It's too much attention. Yeah, ethical non-monogamy. Like, you didn't have to say ethical. No, but on that subject, can you be surprised that your sex life with your partner dies after a few years. Replace partner with anything else, okay? You go to work every day. You're gonna get tired of your job after a few years. You go to the same beach resort every single vacation. You're probably gonna get tired of it and want something different. Yet we think that with somebody that we're dating, it's gonna be any different. I wanted to address the idea that sex is sacred. I know what people mean when they say this because sex always feels better when you are deeply in love with somebody or you have a huge crush on somebody and then it like finally happens. Yes, of course, like everyone knows that. I feel like our bodies can do something really good, and I think it's actually more damaging to deny yourself something than to give in and just like move on to the next thing. I think you actually give it a little too much power. Yeah, no, I just feel like our bodies can do this really great thing that feels so good. And it's the reason I can sit here today, you can sit here today, and we're all acting like it's bad.
A lot of people do like the one night stands or hookups or whatever,
But they have
right?
a connection, don't they? I don't know, maybe we're talking about two
Yeah,
different things.
no, I think you're right.
They would still have a connection to some extent.
I think that, yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's not like two people are just walking down the street like, oh, you, like, let's go have sex.
I don't know.
Sometimes
Sometimes I think
you think that might be the case?
I think that sometimes happens in clubs or whatever. Like, people are drunk or drugged out or whatever, and they're just like, it's kind of like, what is that description of it? Masturbating with someone else or whatever.
What's wrong with that?
No, I know. Well, so I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that's kind of flying in the face of the idea of being a connection. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
That is a connection.
Okay, so you're saying just strictly a physical connection.
No, you could still have a connection with somebody. I watched this video by Candace Owens, and she was interviewing like a sex worker. How do I make it through those videos? That's the real question.
And anybody can be in a marriage, even if we're not doing anything or acting like we are in a marriage. This couple is a fraud. They're frauds. And
They're pretty honest because once you get behind closed
addicts
doors
are
with
never
us,
honest.
I'll tell you,
Addicts are never honest.
I think the weak shame people that are open and honest about human sexuality. My space is so safe. I have people opening up on lots of different fronts.
I had such strong feelings after this interview that I literally went to the sex worker's Instagram and DM'd her to be like, you really killed that shit right there. I hope you know. She was really trying to antagonize you for the media content, and you were seeing right through it. So congratulations. Like, just so you know, people are out there, like, we're supporting you. Like, I think people give sex way too much power. So to recap, there are basically two emotions. I didn't even talk about this. There are basically two emotions. There's love and there's fear. And almost anything you feel can be traced back to like one of those. You're either doing it because you're like, it's genuinely positive, it's love, or it's because you're afraid of something. Say you're at the supermarket and you run into somebody from high school and you're like, oh my God, let me not go down that aisle because they're in that aisle. This is fear. Like, you don't have to do that. You guys went to high school together. You could just go down the aisle you need to go down and be like, oh, we went to high school together, right? Oh, how are you? That's all. Move on with your life. You could approach it with love. Open relationships. Oh, you actually do like this person? You're like attracted to them? You don't need to like be in a relationship for the rest of your life with them, but like you're attracted to them? Okay. Like, yeah, maybe talk to them. See what's up. Like, you could approach every situation from a love perspective than a fearful perspective. I didn't even mention, like, this is still a possibility in monogamous relationships. You guys, you think that just because you like pinky swore that you would be together, or you put a ring on a finger, that there's literally 0% chance that the other person might find somebody more applicable, or you might find somebody more applicable. People seem to think that just because they're in monogamous relationships that this is not a possibility. It could happen anytime. So I feel like non-monogamy is actually a realistic solution, or like a whatever. I don't fucking care anymore. I'm moving on to the next topic. We're going to get into marriage now, which I guess I'll intro this by saying it's really interesting that we seem to truly believe that just by having a party, a wedding, and just by like signing a paper, all of a sudden, our relationship is now something different. And I'm also guilty of this because I am like a little afraid of getting married, because I also believe that it's like so official. It's like, it's really not so official because it's literally just like a party, which you probably have all the time at your house. You probably have like people over and you're having a party, and then like you put your signature everywhere these days. So I don't know why I feel like it's so official as well, but I do. Is this on? The first thing I want to say about weddings is that I'm I know it's not my place. I know it's not my place to say this. And I'm not going to, if you invite me to your wedding, I'm not going to say like objection in the middle of it. But I just really feel deeply about women changing their names. Unless your last name is like Bootyfonglopoulos. Like, okay, now we... like, all right. That one I understand. The reason this is so important to me is because, I mean, you could look at my entire life. The reason I was so interested in French and moving to Paris, where I am now, is because I like identified with my last name being Dominique. Dominique is French. Dominique is my dad's last name. That's literally just prioritizing my dad's side of the family. And, well, what about the mom's side of the family? My mom's last name was German. Say I grew up with my dad's last name being German. Who's to say I wouldn't be in Germany right now? Even the little details of our life, I think, play a part in who we become as people. You know, like I'm literally here in Paris right now. I've been here for so many years. And it's because my last name is Dominique. And here I am thinking like, I'm French. Like, yeah, but only 50%. You're also 50% German. But I don't give my German side any value. Had my dad been German, then I would have. The idea of marriage itself is very interesting to me. I don't know when it became commonplace for us to need someone else to like sign off on our wedding. I mean like the government, for example. And that's really what weddings are. Like the concept itself is bizarre to me. It'd be like, say we're friends, as if to certify our friendship, we need to go get the government involved so we know that we're officially friends. There's something weird about it that it never clicked for me. That being said, I haven't completely written off the idea of marriage. I'm not gonna be able to make it through my own wedding. I know that part. I'm already like a freaking wreck. And I knew this because my friend just got married in Mexico, so I flew there. The thing that gets me about weddings is not that two people are getting married. It's the fact that everybody else like takes time out of their day to go there. Like, now you got me fucked up. The fact that we all went to Mexico because we like wanted to be there for our friend. That's so beautiful. The crocodile tears, they're coming. Just to see everyone stand up and like watch her walk down the aisle and everyone's smiling. And it's just such a good moment. It reminds me of the club. It's like no one's thinking about the things that don't matter. We're thinking about love. We're thinking about how we all took time off because this means a lot to our friend. And our friend means a lot to us. Got me fucked up. I can't do weddings. This is what I'm saying. Like, I won't be able to make it down the aisle if I get married because I'm going to be a wreck knowing that everybody... I'm going to be a fucking wreck. Knowing that everybody took time off to be there for me. You know what else I find interesting? Is that when people do start crying at weddings... It's like because I was absolutely crying at the wedding. Everyone's kind of like, oh no, don't cry. Or like they hold themselves back. They try to hold back the tears. And I'm like, this is like, if y'all bitches aren't crying at my wedding, like y'all can leave. Y'all don't deserve that seat. Everyone's first reaction to people crying seems to be, oh no, don't cry. It's okay. It's like, I fully know it's okay. I'm expressing actually my tears on how these are good tears. It's like, this is also beautiful. You know? Like my playlist is already too much Casey and JoJo. I pray for someone like you. And I thank God that I finally found you. Got me fucked up. It's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Everyone's actually there for the right reasons because we all care about this person. Stop. I really can't do this. Yeah, it seems like when people are at weddings and they start getting choked up when they're giving their speech, don't ask me to do it because I'm not going to make it through. The thing they say is, oh, I don't want to cry. That's the sentence that makes me sad, actually. So now I'm crying not only because this whole thing's beautiful, but now I'm sad that you think you shouldn't be crying. Like, what do you mean you don't want to cry? I don't want to cry? Why not? Why not? We're literally all here and it's a beautiful thing. Like, we should literally all just cry together. What kind of world do we live in where people are embarrassed to cry? Say it with me. You got me fucked up. The next idea in my notes was this idea of separation. Like there was a moment when my ex was like, why don't we move in together? Like I'm here a lot. Why don't we just move in? It would save money. And I got really freaked out. Again, this is my avoidant attachment style. I freaked out because I thought that it would mean that I would have no more freedom. And I think like if you could boil it down to one value in my life, baby, it's freedom. I can't feel like, oh my God, the bird in the cage at my freaking coiffeur at Strasbourg Saint-Denis. I don't know what it is about the Arabic speakers out there, but y'all always got a bird in a cage in your barbershops. What's going on? This is what I'm saying, how like I'm not surprised that my ex like officially has a new boyfriend because I was giving him all the signs to do so. I've always felt good like on my own. I've always like liked living by myself. And so this idea that society has put in our head that like if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s and you're living alone, like that's a sad thing. I feel like we just need to erase so many of these ideas because I feel good most of the time here. No matter how deeply in love you are with somebody, I still feel like you should have your separate places. Maybe it was my friend Shayna who said this because she has her own place. And I think she said it in one of her videos that she was like, no matter what happens in my life, I want this place for me because it's important for everyone to have their own identity. Like, right? Like that's why the person fell in love with you. Maybe that's the whole point of this video. That the reason so many relationships fail end is because you lose your own identity. Maybe the reason people get so tired of each other after so many years, they stop having sex, they start like getting annoyed with each other, they want to like just, break up after so many years. Maybe the reason relationships kind of fizzle out after a few years is because you lose yourself after a few years because you've become so identified with the other person. And if you maintained your own place, separation, you could still keep that relationship like exciting. And yeah, maybe this is why my ex and I have a great relationship. Because we've never lived together. Yeah, the idea of moving in with somebody, oh my God, it freaks me out. It freaks me out so much. And maybe also part of it is because ever since I've become an adult, I've lived a very atypical lifestyle. Like I've been traveling. I don't even think I've stayed home for more than like 3 months in the past 15 years. Honestly, more than 3 months. And the thing that would freak me out is this like changement d'identité, changement de style de vie, where I would now have to work during the day, then we would like cook together, then we would make dinner together, and then we'd wake up and do it again. Oh my God, I'm like getting stressed out already. No. I think I'm with Shayna on this one. I feel like I need to have my place. He can have his place, and then we have like a place together. We need to be mad rich. I'm sorry. I just thought I'd mention though, there was a friend in town from New York and we were having lunch and she was saying, but Damon, really? Wow. She was saying, Damon, why do you feel like if you're in a relationship, you have to feel like you're giving up something? And I was like, that sentence right there. I do feel like I have to give up something. Because she was saying you could actually just be with somebody and it's like supplémentaire, complémentaire. Like it's adding something instead of taking something away. Honestly, I feel like it's taking something away. It's taking away my freedom. And she's like, no. Again, I just see the way that society frames relationships as, oh, you have to sacrifice for relationships. It's a compromise. And I've never been a compromised person. I don't think anyone should have to compromise ever. The people who click are going to click. The people who fall in love are going to fall in love. And if you have to compromise or you have to sacrifice, then that's not your person. That's where I'm at. If I have to sacrifice or you have to sacrifice, then we're probably not meant for each other. Can you guys see this? Like, I feel like I'm having a zit, like, here, right here. This is what's really important in the video. I want to talk about friendship real quick. It makes me sad also that we don't prioritize friendship like we do romantic love, when friendship is really, I think, the love that's most important. We don't prioritize friendship like we do our love, and it makes me think like, oh, is that because you're not being as vulnerable with your friends as you are with your like love, with your lover, the person you love? And why not? But about friendship, wouldn't it make more sense though to spend all that money that you're going to spend on a romantic wedding just spend it on a friendship wedding. Like, honestly, it'll probably last longer. Like, looking at statistics, it'll probably last longer. I think there's a Sex and the City episode like this where Carrie was getting fed up that no one was ever celebrating her as being a single woman. She was getting fed up that no one was celebrating her when she was just as happy as everybody else. And it was only when you find the one person that you get to be celebrated. And so I think she threw a party for herself, or like a wedding for herself. I would take that even farther. Why don't we just swap the whole idea? Instead of having weddings, why don't we just have friend celebrations? Also, we could all split the cost. The last thing I'll say about friendship is something that I've noticed about conversation codes. And I think it's more of like a city versus suburbs, city versus like country kind of thing. In the city, or the cities that I've lived in, New York, LA, and Paris, it seems like when you're meeting up with somebody, the polite thing to do is to always show interest in the other person. Like, hey, what are you, like, that's a good conversation if you ask them questions about their life so that you look interested. I mean, hopefully you are interested, but that's how a conversation goes. Like, you only bring things up when people ask about them, because then it's confirmed, like, oh, they're interested, so let's talk about it. When I go home to Indiana, I feel like it's a different kind of conversation code where people aren't really asking me about my travels. They're not asking about my life. It's up to me to bring it up. If you have anything interesting to share, you'll bring it up. Like, how am I supposed to know what you're interested in or like what you're doing? That's on you to bring it up. So that's also why I feel like when I go home, I think, maybe I'm just projecting, I feel like people think I'm a little quiet, because I am, because I'm like waiting for people to like show me that they're interested in what I have to say. And I feel like they're waiting for me to talk about my life, you know? Example, if I were in Paris and I just start talking about my life, people will be like, okay, you're talking a lot about yourself and you're not asking any questions about anybody else. So like, you're kind of being rude in a way. If I were in Indiana and I start like talking about myself, then people like know they're being prompted to respond, you know? Now they know what to ask me about because it was important enough for me to talk about. I saw somebody wanted me to comment on Heartbreak and how to like get over it. Not that like I know how to do that, but I just wanted to say that when people are depressed with anything, typically it seems as though you're a little too focused on yourself. Like, I'm so depressed, nobody wants to hang out with me, I'm all alone in this apartment, my life's not going. You're like literally only talking about yourself. And it might not be the best thing to hear, but it's like you got to stop thinking about yourself for a little bit. Typically when people are depressed, they're like a little too focused on their situation, and the way to get out of it is to like help other people. I actually saw this video recently that was like, we need to bring back inconveniencing friends. I completely agree. Yeah, you got to like start doing things for other people so that your life isn't always about you. Yeah, whether we want it or not, our lives are going to be filled with other people. They will always be filled with people. So we better get used to that. To conclude, I would say I think it's love, honestly, that we're all looking for. And again, love is one of these, it's such a general word in English, and I don't feel like it should be. I feel like it's one of these words in the next 100 years we need to start divvying up. We have love for friends, love for like sexual partners, we have love for romantic partners, love for familial partners, love for hobbies. There's way too many different kinds of love. We can't just be like, I love this thing. Different kinds of love, baby. We're looking for many kinds of love at the same time. And society, as society would have it today, it's like, it seems like so much focus is on the romantic part when it has to be a balance. Look, I'm a Libra at the end of the day. I actually am. We need all the kinds of love to make our life feel full. Okay, well, that's enough for me. Thank you guys for watching this video essay. There are a million other video essays, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao. I feel like I've only met maybe a handful of people who believe what I just, hold on, sorry. I just got really distracted because why is it the one book on my shelf? The one book on my shelf that I just glanced at? I know, I just have to get my baseball bat out first. Okay. It's not going with the color scheme. All right. I didn't need people to send me messages like, are you okay? Because I would just kind of shut people out, withdraw, and like deal with it on my own. Again, it's like also unhealthy. But everyone to see, ooh, baby. Can you guys just let me know though, like in the comments below, are you getting stuff from this? I know these are long. I know that like the wine is being poured. Do you feel like you're getting something from this? I hope so. Because damn, that would be a waste. Imagine like no one's watching right now. No, but it's not, because I'm like figuring things out for myself. So even if no one cares, no one's watching, I should care because I'm actually figuring things out that I believe in. Literally. You know, so I just don't like this idea that women so easily give up their last name. Again, if your last name is Bootyfoundblopoulos, all right. Is that the base human emotion? That we're all a little insecure and that we need like everyone else to tell us that we're doing okay? Maybe that's like whoever, God, the source, maybe that was like his way, his like gender. Like, I hate that I automatically think of God as like a he. I mean, I guess like if I grew up with Jesus as being the incarnation of God, so therefore Jesus was a he, so I guess that makes sense. Maybe that was like, I don't know, God or whoever created this universe, the source. Maybe that was their way of making sure that we'd all connect, making us all like insecure enough, just enough, so that we'd be looking for like validation or acceptance or like love from other people. You know, I don't know. It's interesting. You know what, you guys? You should be able to have your cake and eat it too. Sorry, I can't keep a straight face when I say that. You should be able to have your cake and eat it too. Tell me that's not the best pun of the whole video. Have your cake and eat it too. It's like literally 2072 right now. So there are ways around this. I'm thinking of that Friends episode where like Joey is like writing vows or he's gonna officiate a wedding. And he's like loving, caring, sharing, whatever. And then he gets to the final line and he's like, I can't think of the other word. And everyone's like, sharing maybe? Okay, so we have Miss, Ms, and Mrs. You got me fucked up. You got me fucked up. Like, I need to know if you're married. Also, just linguistic note for all my linguistic nerds out there. Hey, where we at? When you look at French, monsieur, which means Mr., means mon, sieur. Mon means my, and sieur is sir. So what you're saying is my sir. Same thing with madame. When you say madame, you're saying ma, my, dame, woman, my woman. Madame, my woman, my sir. I don't know, I thought it was interesting. All that matters is that you treat me right. Give me all the things I need that money can't buy. Actually, you could argue I spent a lot of my 20s and now 30s like outside of the States that who knows, maybe like an American would be so different. Look, at this point, I don't write anyone off. Because I was free this past weekend. He wasn't free because he was with his boyfriend. And then Monday comes and he's like, oh, I'm free today. Or if you're not free today, tomorrow we can hang out. I was completely free, but I told him I wasn't free just so it's not like we only hang out when you want to. You know what I'm saying? So I was playing some games this week. Yeah, I was playing some games.